Not all right, so hopefully we're recording and we're good. But good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us today as we dive into the public comment period for the draft 2021 regional plan. I'm Tuere Faola, Principal Regional Planner here at SANDAG, and I will be leading the virtual open house for East County community tonight. Simultaneous interpretation in Spanish is available during this Zoom meeting. But before we get started, I would like to ask our interpreter, Carlos, to introduce himself and walk through how to access our interpretation services for today's meeting. Carlos?
Thank you very much, Tuere. As was indicated, we will have simultaneous interpretation available. To use the service, please scroll down to the bottom of your Zoom screen where the meeting controls are. Then click on the interpretation icon. It looks like a little world, and select English as your language. If you are joining through the Zoom mobile app on a cell phone, tablet, and so on, please press the ellipsis, the three dots, then interpretation, and then choose your language. Finally, click on mute original audio to not hear the original Spanish low in the background. I will now repeat this message in Spanish. Buenas tardes y bienvenidos, bienvenidas. Vamos a contar con servicio de interpretación simultánea. Para hacer uso del mismo, por favor, desplácese a la parte inferior de la pantalla de Zoom, donde aparecen sus controles. Haga clic en el icono de interpretación, parece un globo terráqueo, y seleccione Español o Spanish. Si está utilizando la aplicación móvil de Zoom en tableta, celular, etc., presione primero los puntos suspensivos, luego interpretación y luego el idioma. Por último, si no desea escuchar el audio original en inglés en el fondo, por favor seleccione Mute Original Audio o silenciar audio original. Gracias and thank you.
Thank you, Carlos, and welcome once again to everyone joining us today. So a few housekeeping items to note. For those who logged into this meeting with Zoom, we will keep you muted unless you wish to speak during the public comment section at the end of the open house. We will post helpful information and links in the chat throughout the evening. Your input is imperative to developing the final 2021 regional plan. Throughout the past couple of years, SANDAG has been working hard at developing the plan for the future of transportation in the San Diego region. Now through August 6th is the time that the draft plan is available for review and public comment. We will be sharing a lot of information this evening, and you'll hear from staff and local leaders and have an opportunity to share your comments. Your input will help our future transportation system work better for everyone in our region. And this is an opportunity to make your voice heard. We have several presentations, and at the end of our presentations, we will open the floor for your comments. But during this time, we invite you to raise your hand virtually using the raise hand feature on Zoom or by dialing *9 on the telephone. When it's your turn to comment, we'll read your name out loud and the last 4 digits of your phone number and unmute your line. You'll have 3 minutes to make your public comment. And please remember to use the interpretation function to hear translated audio into English and Spanish. And we'll repeat these instructions when we get to that portion of the meeting. If you encounter any technical problems, please send a message via our webinar chat box or call 858-275-6176. Don't worry, again, we'll repeat this information and it will be in the chat box when we get to that point in the meeting. So we'll go through some of the details for the draft 2021 regional plan tonight, and it is a big plan and we can't get through everything. So if you'd like to learn more and explore on your own, feel free to pull out your smartphone and scan the QR code shown here with your camera. This will take you to our website where you can find all sorts of information on the draft plan, the public comment period, and more. And I'll give you just a little bit more time to capture that QR code. If you don't have a QR code scanner, you can go to our website on sdforward.com. During or after this meeting, you can submit public comments in several ways. We accept comments at sandag.org/regional plan comments. We also accept comments by email, phone, fax, and mail. And remember, this is your chance to help transform transportation in our region. We hope that you'll take a quick moment to share with us your feedback. So to kick off tonight's evening's discussion, I'd like to introduce SANDAG board member and Lemon Grove Mayor Raquel Vasquez, who will be saying a few words this evening. Mayor Vasquez has worked in local government for more than 20 years. In addition to serving on the SANDAG board, she is a member of the executive committee, vice chair of the SANDAG audit committee, and led the ad hoc subcommittee formed earlier this year to develop a statement solidifying SANDAG's commitment to equity. We are so honored to have you here tonight with us, Mayor Vasquez, and I'll now turn it over to you to say a few words.
Thank you so very much. And thank you to each and every person here this evening for being here with us to explore the draft 2021 regional plan and what it means for our communities. I'm Lemon Grove Mayor Raquel Vasquez and a member of the board of directors for SANDAG, the regional agency that's tasked with planning the future of transportation throughout the San Diego region. Now, every few years, SANDAG updates its regional plan, which is a blueprint for land use and transportation planning in the San Diego region through 2050. On May 28th, SANDAG released the draft 2021 regional plan for public comment. This draft plan will enhance our quality of life by making transportation system faster, fairer, and cleaner than ever before. And when I say faster, what I mean by that is optimizing traffic flows and making transit more frequent and convenient. Fairer by improving social equity with the expansion of transportation options and job opportunities for historically underserved communities. Cleaner by meeting state and federal requirements released and related to climate change and clean air, investing in greener transportation options, and helping to improve local climate action plans and housing goals. And now that the draft plan has been released for public review, we want to hear from you. This is a once in a lifetime, well, let me say once in a generation opportunity to fundamentally improve the lives of all San Diegans. The plan outlines a roadmap for making it easier to get to work, to school, and other destinations that we know and love throughout the county. It will help reduce harmful emissions that contribute to climate change. It will make our streets safer for everyone. It will improve safety by enhancing evacuation routes, and it will expand commuter routes, bus and trolley services, giving all of us more options to get around our region. Like I said, this is a draft plan. And before the board of directors votes on this plan later on this year, we want to hear from you. So again, thanks for participating in this important public process. With all of that, I'll turn this right back over to Eric.
Thank you so much, Mayor Vasquez, and thank you for your excitement and enthusiasm about this draft plan. So now we're going to move to a short video that features the leaders of our board, Chair and Encinitas Mayor, Catherine Blakespear, Vice Chair and San Diego Mayor, Todd Gloria, and Second Vice Chair and National City Mayor, Alejandro Sotelo Solis. The video gives you an opportunity to hear from them and the SANDAG staff on what the plan encompasses and how it impacts our region.
Welcome to the 2021 Regional Plan Virtual Open House. The draft 2021 Regional Plan sets the stage for an exciting new era in San Diego County. And now that the draft plan is complete, we want your input as we seize this once-in-a-generation opportunity to improve the lives of every resident in the San Diego region.
What a journey it has been to get to this point. Years of planning, studying, listening, and learning. Now, we have an opportunity to enact a transformative vision that will make it easier to move around our region, improve our quality of life, add jobs, grow our economy, protect our environment, and create equitable access to opportunity. This is a moment for all of us.
This is a moment for our San Diego region. This is your moment. Our future is brightest when we work together to achieve a shared vision. So we want to hear from you. Your voice matters.
The 2021 Regional Plan is a blueprint for land use and transportation planning in the San Diego region through 2050, charting a course for the future of how we get around. At SANDAG, we have been developing this plan for years, using advanced data, working with industry leaders, and incorporating your feedback all along the way.
Our region is growing, and our transportation system needs to keep up. This plan will help us build a system that truly works for everyone. A system that is faster, fairer, and cleaner.
We're in. Are you?
The San Diego region is a beautiful place, full of vibrant communities, diverse cultures, and exciting possibilities. Our booming industries like biotech, life sciences, defense, and more have brought new jobs and opportunities to our region, attracting a growing workforce. But as the region continues to mature, our current transportation infrastructure is straining. Congestion is worsening, affecting our quality of life. Greenhouse gas emissions are increasing, impacting the health of our region and its people. And prior decisions have left some of our communities under-resourced and underserved. Now is our time to address these problems head-on and improve all of our communities for generations to come.
This plan is the product of thousands of conversations with people across the San Diego region. We interviewed residents and held public meetings. We gathered data to understand where people are living, where they're working, and identify patterns in how they're traveling. We didn't just rely on assumptions from past plans. We built a new regional plan from the ground up, developing an integrated system of projects, programs, and policies to help you get where you need to go.
These community-driven conversations help us gain a better understanding of your daily struggles to make it to work on time, drop kids off at school, go to the grocery store, and get errands done. We listened to your transportation priorities and areas of concern. We analyzed our region's current transportation habits. And we worked with experts to integrate the latest trends in transportation technology. Every piece of public input helped shape this new transportation vision.
The 2021 Regional Plan is an investment in the future of our region. It lays out a strategy for smart regional growth and a more efficient transportation network. Whether you drive, take transit, walk, or ride a bike, the plan is designed to make your commute safer and easier.
The San Diego region's environment and rich biodiversity are vital resources to protect. The plan advances greener, more sustainable transportation choices so we can preserve the beaches, coastlines, open spaces, and sensitive habitats that are so important to our region. Together, we have the opportunity to create healthy communities today, tomorrow, and for future generations.
The 2021 Regional Plan aims to save you time and get you where you need to go faster. Complete quarters may make our infrastructure more efficient with dedicated safe spaces for everyone, from transit riders to drivers to freight vehicles to people who walk and bike. And by using the most up-to-date technology, we can manage traffic on our highways and major roads in real time.
Our transportation vision makes it easier to connect to every part of the region, and for the first time, gives you realistic and convenient alternatives to driving. For example, the new bus rapid transit and passenger rail enhancements will provide fast and easy connections to shopping, outdoor recreation, medical offices, employment centers, and the region's schools and universities, expanding equity and access to opportunity so you can focus on the things that matter most.
Fast and reliable transportation does more than keep our region moving, it connects us to the world. The 2021 Regional Plan will help products made in our region continue to access the global marketplace while ensuring vital freight and goods can also make their way back to us. This is a plan to replace our aging infrastructure with 21st century solutions and help our economy and job market stay strong.
Improving the safety of our transportation system is another goal of the 2021 Regional Plan. The proposed system will help improve the safety of all travelers. This includes a commitment to Vision Zero, which aims to eliminate traffic deaths and severe injuries on our streets. The plan will bring us closer to that reality by implementing safe street designs, slower speeds in some areas, and policies to protect people who bike, walk, drive, and more.
No day is the same, and you need flexibility in your commute. On-demand services or flexible fleets will offer fast and affordable solutions to make that critical first and last mile connection between your home, transit, or your final destination. Many of us already use these services today when we hop on a scooter or hail a ride with our smartphones. And as technology evolves, the regional plan is designed to integrate new flexible fleets into our transportation system, creating a seamless connection from start to finish. It's about creating a future where transportation choices are there when you need them.
Managing the regional transportation network with the latest in transportation technology, what we call the Next Operating System or Next OS, can make your commute more efficient. Next OS can help you make informed travel choices by providing up-to-the-minute information about nearby options, travel times, and pricing, so you can choose what works best for you.
SANDAG is committed to creating a transportation system that works, no matter where you live, how you travel, or where you're going.
The 2021 Regional Plan will provide us with a more convenient, safe, and resilient transportation system.
It's a plan to help you save time and give you more transportation choices.
A plan to protect our local environment and preserve our open space and natural resources, all while reducing pollution and climate warming emissions.
It's a plan to bring greater equity to our transportation system and invest in our underserved communities. The 2021 Regional Plan is a vision for our future.
A future that is faster, fairer, and cleaner than ever before.
Your participation and input is critical. Thank you for being here today and helping us reimagine the future of transportation in the San Diego region for everyone. This is our moment. Let's build it together.
I hope you liked the video, which featured many of the places that we call home. Our home is amazing. There is so much to love about the San Diego region and all of its unique communities. Preserving this special place for future generations will take a lot of work and investment, and we believe it's worth it. In a few minutes, I will provide you with an overview of the draft 2021 Regional Plan and its significance to the San Diego region. But first, let's take a quick moment to tell you about SANDAG. So SANDAG is the region's government planning agency. We have a board of directors made up of elected officials from each of the region's 18 cities and the county of San Diego. We plan and implement a variety of projects and programs all over the region. We also have grant programs that help cities fund local transportation investment programs, and you may have seen some of the results of this work in your community. SANDAG provided funds for bike and pedestrian improvements in La Mesa along the University Avenue corridor, access improvements at the Lemon Grove Trolley Plaza, the San Diego River Trail in Santee, and enhancements to the El Cajon Main Street corridor. One of the key responsibilities of SANDAG is to develop a regional plan that is updated every 4 years. The regional plan, as you heard earlier, it's a long-term blueprint for how the San Diego region will grow and how we will get around. Without the plan, experts say that you'll just have a bunch of projects that don't coordinate with each other. This plan takes into account many important issues, like how we get to travel to work, to schools, shopping, recreation, and also it looks at what's the best land use for areas near transit or next to sensitive habitat. It reaches from the international border in the south to Anzo Borrego Desert in our eastern region and the Orange and Riverside counties to the north. It encompasses the needs of our tribal neighbors and our rural residents. But what makes this plan unique from the dozens of plans that have come before it is our approach. Our society has shifted quickly in the last 20 years with the advent of computers, smartphones, the Internet of Things, but we took advantage of the tremendous amount of data generated by all of that to map it out in a transformational data-driven plan. We focused on where people want to go and how we can best get them there, all while concentrating on sustainable approaches and equitable policies for those who have been left out of past decisions. So we've been working on this plan for more than 2 years since the SANDAG board put us on a path to develop a new vision for the region in February of 2019. After extensive community engagement, data analysis, and planning, we presented the vision to the board and the community in August of 2020. Now, we've turned that vision into the draft 2021 regional plan, detailing how we bring that vision to life. Throughout this process, we've been focused on gathering community input, even during the pandemic, meeting with residents and businesses, conducting focus groups, and hearing from the diverse voices throughout the region to really better understand the issues that are important to you. We've heard that the transit that we have today, it's not convenient. It's not fast enough, it's not frequent enough, and it doesn't connect people to where they need to go. We've heard that people do not feel safe on our streets, especially people who walk and who bike. And throughout the United States, 25,000 people were killed while walking between the years of 2016 and 2019. In our region, most people drive alone to work because they lack an alternative to driving, and this only worsens traffic on our roadways. We've also heard that many of you are concerned about our environment. Driving is the primary contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, leading to climate change as the Earth's temperatures rise. We're already seeing impacts of climate change and expecting things to get worse. Sea levels will continue to rise. Wildfires, heat waves, and droughts will become more common. But these issues are not new, and they are reflected in the 3 biggest challenges we need to overcome as a region. We must adopt a regional plan that addresses congestion, improves social equity, and meets our state and federal environmental laws. And some of those state laws are new, and they're one of the most important things that we have to keep in mind when developing the plan. There are a variety of state and federal laws related to the environment and environmental justice, but the big takeaway is this: by 2035, we are required to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 19% per person compared to 2005 levels. And to do this, we need a transportation system that provides more and better alternatives to driving. So with all of this in mind, we outlined a vision for a complete transportation system that serves the entire region. Faster, fairer, and cleaner travel choices can help our communities be resilient to a changing climate. We want to create a system that connects everyone to the people and the places they care about quickly, safely, and conveniently. We want to expand access across the region, opening up transportation choices to every person in our community and advancing social equity goals. And we want to preserve the quality of life and the environment that we all love. By making the air cleaner and reducing emissions, we can imagine a brighter future for our region. So the 5 big moves are strategies for addressing our challenges. Together, they are a system that makes the 2021 regional plan unique. The 5 big moves are complete corridors, transit leap, mobility hubs, flexible fleets, and the next operating system. Complete corridors are the roadways that accommodate for all modes of transportation with technology to manage how they're used. Transit leap is fast. It's frequent transit service that benefits from technology and makes it more reliable and more convenient. Flexible fleets are the full spectrum of app-enabled mobility services from all different types of trips, from bikes and scooters to ride sharing. And mobility hubs are communities where all of the modes of transportation come together seamlessly, and it's safe and easy to get around without a car. At the heart of the 5 big moves is the NextOS platform, which uses data and technology to manage the transportation system and its services. The regional plan brings the 5 big moves together to create a complete transportation system. So we're planning out to the year 2050. Just imagine how much will change in 30 years. By 2050, 400,000 more people may be calling our region home, and this will require more housing and lead to job growth throughout our region. I mentioned earlier that we approach this plan differently than we ever have before. Past plans have been a refresh of a list of transportation projects. This time, we looked at data on where people live, where they work, and how they travel to get around the region. So the map here on the left shows where people live in the region. The darker the color, the more people that live in that area. The map in the middle shows the areas where we have the highest concentration of jobs in the region, and we call these employment centers. The map on the far right, the purple lines show all the people from all across the region traveling to their jobs in those employment centers. So the darker the line, that means the more trips that are being made for that connection. And work trips are not the only trips that people need to make. So we also use data to understand how and where connections are being made for other types of trips. All of this data helped us to identify the right transportation solutions to meet the different needs of the communities across our region. So now, what does this reimagined transportation system look like? So I'll describe the regional system, and later you're going to hear from Alex Australia about specific projects in the East County area. We start with mobility hubs. These are the areas where the most people live and work today, and where we will see more people and jobs in the future. In these areas, it's easy to get around without a car. Local buses serve these areas with more frequent service, and the complete corridors provide a fully connected system of managed lanes, which are similar to what we have today on Interstate 15. These lanes would have options for people to use transit, rideshare, or to pay a fee to use them if they're driving alone. Next generation rapid buses would use those managed lanes as a fast and convenient transit option in many of our communities. And then next we have our light rail system. This includes the trolley and the sprinter, and we envision more trains and longer hours of service here. Finally, the commuter rail system. So imagine fast trains traveling below ground in tunnels or above ground so that they can provide quick connections to jobs and popular destinations. And I'm sure many of you have experienced this in other parts of the world, but just think about how amazing this would be for our region. So this plan delivers on the goals that I described earlier in the presentation. Most importantly, we meet all of our federal and state requirements, including the greenhouse gas reduction target. So how does this plan address the worst traffic during commute hours? Well, imagine being able to easily hop on a bus or a train and get to work as fast or faster than driving. Our computer models show that by 2035, driving alone would decrease and more people would use transit to get to work. And by 2050, this trend continues. So these changes, this will help to ease traffic on our roadways. So right now, owning a car can certainly be expensive. And transit, it just takes too long and it doesn't work for most people. In this plan, we look closely at transit access for people with low incomes, people of color, and seniors. And for those residents, the percent of people living within half a mile of transit increases threefold. Living close to fast and frequent transit makes it a convenient option for traveling around the region. So with that, I'd now like to turn it over to my colleague, Alex Australia, to take you through more detail for the East County communities.
Thank you, Tuari. So here's a snapshot of the proposed improvements in the regional plan. Please note that while the discussion today is focused on East County projects, the regional plan really reflect and are intended to meet the needs of our trip or of your trip for start to finish, whether you drive, ride transit, walk, or bike. So the plan projects we'll review are intended to provide a variety of mobility choices for East County residents to move throughout the communities and to connect to other areas of the region. Now, this subregion is characterized by a diverse set of communities and neighborhoods, from the rural inland settings in the East County region to the more urban neighborhoods along the I-8, State Route 54, State Route 94, and the State Route 125 corridors. Now, through the East County, our data revealed that critical travel connections are being made by people commuting from rural and suburban residential areas in the East to the urban communities and outlying job centers. We also consider the mobility needs of East County and rural communities. So for example, for rural corridors like the State Route 67, access for emergency evacuation conditions and access for first responders to rural communities is a critical need for rural communities. So to address and help meet the needs of each community, there are many significant projects proposed in the regional plan. Some of these include near-term improvements in rapid express bus services, intersection and roadway technology improvements, 4 new managed lane corridors along the State Route 52, I-8, State Route 94, and State Route 125. And these managed lanes corridors will be complemented with next generation rapid transit services proposed in the 2035 phase. We will also have 1 major commuter rail proposed in the 2050 phase. Now, before we walk through the proposed projects, what I like to do is just walk through the existing system as it looks today. Several corridors provide the backbone for travel in the region, connecting people and goods between their homes, their jobs, local community businesses, and shops. Currently, the primary travel corridors within Eastern San Diego County include, just working from the top to the bottom of the slide here, we have State Route 52, we have I-8, and we also have State Route 94, State Route 125, and then to the east, we also have State Route 67. And these corridors also serve connecting points to other major corridors, as you see here, such as the I-5, State Route 163, I-805, and I-15. But today, these corridors have limited transit options with the exception of the I-8 and State Route 94 that are served by the green and trolley green lines, orange line, that connect the communities of Santee and El Cajon with the downtown San Diego. There are also a number of existing rapid bus services that provide connections around and within this county, in this region. For example, we have the I-15 rapid service in the Mid-City Rapid area. We have the Mid-City Center Line stations and the main express lines that serve East County residents. The South Bay Rapid is another key service that travels along I-8 and then State Route 94. There are many other local bus routes in this area as well, but we're only highlighting the existing rapid transit services. In supplementing this, we also have the construction of projects in the adopted active transportation network, as noted by the thin light and dark blue lines on the map. Now let's take a look at the first phase of the proposed improvements for this region expected by 2025. But before moving ahead with the proposed projects, it is important to recognize the existing community assets that created foundation for mobility hubs. As you can see here in the pink shapes of the map, we have a host of mobility hubs in this part of the region. For example, we have El Cajon that demonstrates the building blocks for a robust gateway mobility hub, serving as the entry point into the regional Green Line trolley network located in downtown El Cajon that has already embraced redevelopment. Now within this area, we also have the La Mesa and Lemon Grove proposed mobility hubs. And La Mesa Mobility Hub is proposed in the northeast of the historic La Mesa Village and aligns with the existing Gross Mountain Transit Center. It features a variety of modes of transit and neighboring multi-family and employment destinations. Now, in terms of proposed projects, one of the first steps to addressing the travel needs of our East County communities is to implement the technology backbone that allow us to holistically manage highways and our major local roads. The map that you see here shows the system of what we call the complete regional arterials that are part of the initial investments planned by 2025. Proposed improvements along this local network of key arterials include the implementation of a smart intersection system. This smart and connected intersection system uses technology to collect and process data from traffic signal controllers, roadway sensors, and connected vehicle to monitor and adjust signal timing operations to respond to the needs of road users. This technology will improve travel times, reduce stop and go conditions, and create a safe environment on local streets and intersections. Now, the smart sensor technology also creates a safe environment for people who walk and bike. The sensors could also prioritize the movement of buses, freight, emergency vehicles along a corridor. Sensors can provide data on collisions and near misses to unsafe intersections, and roadway segments can be identified for improvements. This technology will also provide priority treatments for proposed rapid transit services to enhance travel times and on-time performance. Now, these investments will build upon a project that's currently underway in partnership with Caltrans, SANDAG, and the county. And this project includes incorporating 18 miles of fiber on State Route 67 from Lakeside to Ramona this summer. This will provide broadband connectivity needed for technology solutions, including the smart intersection system and sensor technology. Adding fiber also helps close our rural digital divide by expanding affordable, high-speed internet services to the communities along the corridor. Investing in fiber communications infrastructure is the foundation of Rural Complete Corridor concept and the Next OS. Now, supplementing these projects is providing the missing links in the active transportation network along the San Diego River Trail or Pershing Drive Bikeway. Also planned in 2025 is the State Route 94 and State Route 125 interchange and arterial operation improvements that you see here. Now, additional investments by 2025 include 3 rapid transit routes, which are supported by the Complete Corridors Regional Arterial Network. And these include a rapid line from Kearney Mesa, one of our region's largest employment center, to Pacific Beach. And further east, we also have a rapid line from Lum Mesa to North Park and Hillcrest on University Avenue, connecting with Ocean Beach. We also have a rapid line from Spring Valley through Southeast San Diego to downtown San Diego. Now, the proposed Complete Corridor arterial investments offer the infrastructure that is needed to provide fast and efficient transit services to East County residents to major employment destinations, between mobility hubs and within them. Now, these routes also serve our low-income communities, providing much needed connection to neighborhood schools, parks, the beach, medical facilities, and jobs. Other proposed transit projects occurring in 2025 include upgrades to the Pacific Surliner, Coaster, Metrolink, and the freight Losan services, providing connectivity to East County residents traveling to Orange County and other locations further north. Moving on to the 2035 phase. The new Complete Corridor investments start with the development of a system of managed lanes, which are similar to the I-15 express lanes as referenced by Tuari earlier, which offer free priority access for people riding transit, carpools, and emergency vehicles, while people driving alone can choose to pay a fee to get where they need to more quickly. A core part of the managed lane network is the technology that makes these corridors smart and responsive to real-time conditions. And this is done by the Next OS, which will allow us to monitor, to manage, and optimize our freeway network, traffic signals, ramp meters, and transit operations. It also enables new tools like dynamic lane assignment, speed harmonization, real-time travel information, and dynamic routing, which allows for smoother and more predictable ride. The investments in smart infrastructure like sensors and communications technology make the infrastructure responsive and adaptable to changing conditions. Connected technologies can help prevent accidents and save lives, helping cities and other regions achieve a Vision Zero goals. Now, what I'd like to do is just highlight some of the key managed lane corridors proposed. For example, working from the top, we have State Route 52. which is a critical connection between El Cajon Gateway Mobility Hub and the Kearney Mesa Major Employment Center Hub. It is being proposed as a 3 managed lanes between the I-805 and Mass Boulevard. Now, one of those lanes would be reversible with technology, and that lane will be managed to provide the greatest person throughput at different times of the day when it is needed the most. Moving to I-8, we are proposing 4 managed lanes between the 805 and Greenfield Drive in El Cajon, which will provide a fast trip for shared rides and will add throughput capacity to this major goods movement corridor. We also have State Route 94, which is also being proposed as a 3 managed lane system like State Route 52 between I-5 and the State Route 125. And finally, we also have State Route 125, which is being proposed as a 2 managed lane system. Now, these managed lanes projects provide a direct connection into the north-south corridor by not only providing a system of managed lanes, but also the supporting connectors and direct access ramp for transit to connect to suburban and rural portions of East County residents, to major medical campuses, key employment centers, universities, and more. Now, by 2035, all of the corridors shown here in green will have the complete and the necessary technology investments that allow us to monitor and manage demand and improve safety. Now, for example, these will include improvements to the eastern portion of the I-8 corridor or the State Route 94 rural corridor. So just like State Route 67, we will have a fully implemented all technology improvements to dynamically manage use of the highway lanes. These new tools on each of the corridors will allow us to manage, monitor, and respond to changing traffic conditions, allowing us to better respond to emergency evacuation conditions as well. Also within the State Route 67, additional projects improvements include shoulder winding and straining between Maple View and Dye Road, which is currently being studied by SANDAG and Caltrans as part of the San Vicente Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Study. And even more of the adopted bike network gets built by 2035, such as the full on-street connection to the San Diego River Trail between State Route 52 and the I-8 and the Center City project from La Mesa to Encanto. Now, these connections will allow people to safely bike to work, bike for leisure, or to school between such communities between La Mesa, Lemon Grove, and Encanto. Now, there are multiple transit routes being proposed for in 2035. And some of them are dependent upon the completion of the Complete Corridors Managed Lanes network, such as the State Route 52 that you see here in green, which provides for a transit alternative 1-seat ride from El Cajon and Santee to major employment centers of Kearney Mesa and Sorrento Valley. Now, key to the success of this route are the mobility hub features, which make taking transit easier with investments in car share, ride share, microtransit, park and ride facilities, and anchor transit station improvements. By 2035, the rapid routes noted here earlier in 2025 that serve the Spring Valley to the east through the Southeast San Diego region, west of downtown, will be improved to have dedicated lanes to prioritize transit for this corridor. Now, in additional rapid services for East County residents include rapid route services providing localized travel and connection to San Diego State University. So as you can see here in the middle of the map, the service will be traveling along Euclid Avenue, 54th Street, and College Avenue. There's also a new rapid line that connects El Cajon to South Bay and the border region being proposed. Now, the expansion of the rapid network is supported by improvements to the 2 existing trolley lines. These improvements include adding additional tracks and separating the tracks from traffic with bridges or tunnels to enable faster trolley speeds and connectivity in these trolley lines. Improvements also include enhancing connections to other major transit services, such as the Purple Commuter Rail or the proposed Los Angeles Corridor expansion in the South County and downtown San Diego regions. Now, by 2050, much of the east-west managed lanes networks and connectors are built by 2035 and a fully completed by 2050. Now, these additional managed lanes and supporting connectors are along the State Route 52, these you see here, and the I-West section between 805 and State Route 125 managed lanes. Now, this creates a complete managed lanes network for East County residents serving door-to-door trips to south or central portions of the county. And by 2050, the adopted bike plan will be fully built, supporting the mobility hubs, the transit, and regional connections, completing links along corridors along State Route 52s, so that one could travel from Santee to Sorrento Valley on a bike. Now, the expansion of the rapid system is supported by additional improvements to the existing trolley lines, and these improvements include increased frequencies and additional spot-specific improvements that separate it from traffic. Overall, these improvements will allow for greater connections to other new regional commuter rail line that serve as a gateway from mobility hub of El Cajon to the urban core, where riders will have the choice of continuing directly into downtown San Diego or the proposed central mobility hub with direct access to the airport. Now, what I'd like to do is just shift a bit east to highlight some of the key projects within the unincorporated areas of the East County. So moving further east, by 2025, there are technology investments for smart intersections, which can include smart sensors, as noted here in the city of Santee. Also, some additional improvements will supplement the rural corridor shown in green. As noted earlier, along State Route 67, there is an existing project that would begin this summer that is being completed in partnership with SANDAG, Caltrans, and the county. Again, this is the incorporation of 18 miles of fiber between Lakeside and Ramona. Now, this broadband connectivity is needed for the technology solutions we've proposed to improve operations, improve traffic flow, and improve safety. As mentioned earlier, adding fiber begins to close the digital divide gap and expands access for affordable, high-speed internet services in these communities. By 2035, to support the smart intersection system along the corridor shown in green, proposed improvements will include necessary technology investments that allow us to monitor and manage the demand and improve safety along these corridors. These improvements, such as dynamic lane management, speed harmonization, real-time travel information, as mentioned earlier. Now, in addition, along the I-8 corridor, the West Willows Road interchange will be improved. The same thing for State Route 94, where the Melody Road will have a intersection improvements within this section. Both corridors are important for goods movement throughout our region. And more infrastructure is planned by 2050. There will be shoulder winding and straightening on State Route 94 between the Hamu Reservation and the Tecate Road. The Interstate I-8 corridor will also have interchange improvements at East Willows Road and a new on-street active transportation project along the corridor between Lake Jenny's Park Road and State Route 79. And here you can see the full build out of the proposed projects in the East County. So when you put all the projects together, you can see how the proposed improvements serve transportation needs for East County residents, which include the ability to add capacity through system of managed lanes and technology, some with reversible lanes, really to meet the changing corridor demands and also improve safety. And these investments provide more convenient travel options and improve connectivity within and between each East County communities and to and from the broader region as well. With that, I would turn it over back to Tori.
Thank you so much, Alex. Well, that was certainly a lot of information that we covered tonight. I hope you were able to take it all in, but this is what is in the plan for our East County communities. So if you'd like to learn even more about all of the projects and programs that are planned for the entire region, or more about what Alex talked about tonight, I encourage you to visit sdforward.com to review the draft plan, which is available in Spanish and English. There are 3 chapters in the plan. Chapter 1 outlines the vision and goals. Chapter 2 is all about the projects, the programs, and the policies that will help us to meet our goals. And Chapter 3 discusses how we will fund and deliver the projects in the plan. If you want to dive into all the data and the technical details, and there are thousands of pages of appendices covering everything that is listed on this slide, from project phasing to active transportation to goods movement. There's a lot of information to go through. We also have an interactive map and a data viewer, which is available to guide you through all of the projects that are included in the plan, and you'll see and notice a similarity to what the slides that Alex showed you. Shortly, we will open the meeting for public comment. I encourage you to share your feedback with us tonight. But if you want to take more time to process the information we've shared or to review all of the materials online, comments can also be provided through an online comment form, email, voicemail, fax, or mail through August 6th. We have more virtual open houses planned and 2 virtual public hearings with our Board of Directors and Transportation Committee in July. These virtual events are an opportunity or an additional opportunity to provide comments and share your feedback about the draft 2021 regional plan. And in terms of next steps, the regional plan public comment period is open through August 6th. Later this summer, the draft environmental impact report, or EIR, as some of you may know it, will be released. Throughout the fall, the team will review all of the feedback we receive and will ask our Board of Directors to adopt the plan and certify the EIR at the end of this year. And if you missed it earlier, here's another chance to scan the QR code on the screen with your smartphone to access more regional plan resources. So now we'll move into the final portion of today's event and the public comment session. And so I'd like to introduce Hope Riley to facilitate.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here again this evening. As Flora mentioned, at this time, this is your opportunity to share your feedback on the plan. Your comments today will be documented and formally responded to in the final 2021 regional plan. You can submit comments using the raise hand feature in Zoom. Or if you're joining by phone, you can press *9 to raise and *9 again to lower your hand. I'd like to take a moment now and ask anyone who wishes to speak this evening to please go ahead and raise your hand so we can get an accurate count of the number of speakers that we have. Thank you. When it's your turn to comment, we will read out your name or the last 3 digits of your phone number and unmute your line. You will have 3 minutes to make your comment. Remember, this is your opportunity to give us your feedback on the draft plan. Comments should remain respectful and focused on the content of the draft 2021 regional plan. Inappropriate language will not be permitted and disruptive participants will be removed from the webinar. At this time, I don't see anyone raising their hand to speak. If there's anyone that wishes to speak this evening, please go ahead and raise your hand now. And as a reminder, if you're joining by phone, please click *9 to do so. Okay, I see Councilmember Jack Shu raising his hand to speak. Councilmember Jack Shu will be our first public comment this evening. We'll be unmuting your line and you'll have 3 minutes to speak now.
Thank you, SANDAG staff, Tulare, Alex, and Hope for having this workshop. And of course, my colleague, Mayor Vasquez. I'm very thankful that you're having this workshop for East County and all that this plan may offer those of us in East County that's really looking forward to a much better transportation system to relieve some of our congestion issues, as well as help us meet our greenhouse gas reduction goals and reduce pollution in our communities. I have a quick question, and I'm only doing this, of course, seeing that we seem to have some time with not having other people asking questions. So Alex, when you presented the high-speed commuter rail system, as well as the rapid bus systems, would it be possible for you to give me a quick example or maybe a time element as to what those services will do for those people commuting east-west or west-east if those were put in place? So, for example, if someone is traveling from El Cajon or even La Mesa, going to downtown or some other part of the region, if we have those systems in place, what would it do to their commute time compared to driving and probably driving during rush hour and with congestion? What would be a comparison in terms of time and cost?
That's a great question, Councilman Shu. One of the key components is obviously the fact that we want to make sure that we reduce our greenhouse emissions, but most importantly, also provide options. And unlike previous plans where we would think about transit opportunities, we would essentially plan them along our freeways, but nothing like what we're planning in this regional plan. So through these commuter services, we really want to make a competitive travel option to folks traveling to downtown. And the only way to do that is by providing fast and reliable services. So we could do that. So that's one key piece. So the idea here is within that, it could probably be probably faster than driving, but the idea here is to provide frequent service, but also, again, reduce congestion, but also just added as a complete trip from a perspective in combination with the flexible fleet services. So the idea here is make it even more competitive than driving alone.
Could I chime in here? Because you know, Councilmember Shu, how much I love to chat with you about these kind of things. I think the comparison really is to doing nothing. It's only going to get worse. So what we're proposing here is to provide a true travel option, like Alex is saying, and travel times definitely will be increased if we do nothing. So that's what's key here in this whole plan. And I know that's something you can really appreciate because we're going to, at a minimum, make sure that people are going faster than what they can do today. And at the same time, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and reducing vehicle miles traveled. So that's the overall goal. Appendix T, I think Tueri mentions to me that we have more detail about travel time in each of the corridors, and we'd be happy to sit down with you and go through that with you.
Sure, I was hoping for that, and I think what I just wanted to let the public know is this plan is going to improve commute times, as well as address cost issues and pollution issues, so that ultimately we're going to have a better system with this new regional transportation plan that is not going, if we do the things that we have done in the past, we know what that's going to do. We're going to continue with congestion, we're going to continue with more pollution, and it's going to probably cost us more. So I hope that's made clear that we're looking for a better transportation system with this plan being implemented, and I hope we can implement it even sooner than what the schedule calls for. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your leadership, Councilmember. Hope.
Thanks, everyone. Going back to our public comment, I see we have another hand raised. Teresa, we will unmute your line, resume public comment, and we will put 3 minutes on the clock for you beginning now. Thank you. Teresa, we've given you permission to unmute. If you still wish to speak, please go ahead and click yes, and then you'll be able to speak. If you're having technical difficulties, don't hesitate to chat in so that we can help you. At this time, I'm going to move to our next public commenter. Teresa, if you are still having technical difficulties but still wish to speak, we're happy to grab you back in just a moment here. But I'm going to move on to Dawn. Dawn, we're going to unmute your line and you'll have 3 minutes to speak beginning now. Thank you. Dawn, we've given you permission to speak. If you wish to speak, just go ahead and hit the unmute button.
Yes. What changes has Hassan Makrata done with SANDAG's grant writing group to increase the number of federal grant dollars that come into San Diego to bring them up to par with what he was able to bring in Los Angeles?
Thanks, Dawn. Could you just restate your question, please, for us so that we can make sure we captured it?
Yes. How is it Hassan Makrata improve SANDAG's grant writing or grant gathering capabilities? And do you think he will be able to bring it up to the level that he had brought it while he was with the Los Angeles Metropolitan Group?
Yes, Don. So this is Colleen Clemenson, Director of Regional Planning. And I can tell you that since Hassan has been here, we have literally brought in millions of dollars to the region, things to restore the Del Mar Bluffs, to advance planning with the Central Mobility Hub, to complete our work on our third border crossing. And this plan that we're working on here, we are assuming that every dollar that's raised in the San Diego region, we are able to get at least $2.50 from whether it's federal or state resources. So I agree with you that Hassan is masterful in bringing money to the region. I will also tell you there's a tremendous amount of excitement at the state level and the federal level for the 5 big moves. And we're hearing from several federal and state agencies who want to help make this plan a reality and see this as, you know, really a pilot for the state and for the nation. So I think that puts us in a really good position for both state and federal funding. So thank you for bringing that up. I think it's really important for the residents of this region to understand that even the funding we raise here gets multiplied and leveraged to bring in outside dollars. So thanks for that really good comment.
All right. Moving on to our next public comment, I see Savahana O'Toole. Savahana, we will unmute you and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Hi, sorry. So my name is Savannah O'Toole. I am an SEJ fellow and an organizer with SD 350. Thank you for your time. I would just like to add a few things, a few comments on your for tonight. So we would like environmental justice to be embedded in San Diego. So therefore, we're asking for 10 different changes to be included in the 2021 Regional Transportation Plan. We call for an environmental justice centered RTP that will ensure the projects included in the RTP will prioritize environmental justice communities identified by the Cal Enviro Screen, which is abbreviated CES, which by listing projects that will directly benefit environmental justice communities by outlining immediate benefits via projects that will be implemented by 2025 and making all public communication easy to understand by the public in order to promote meaningful engagement. So therefore, in the RTP, we ask that an equity specific project list be included in Appendix A for transportation projects, programs, and phasing document. I call for an improvement in the bus system now that is fast, frequent, reliable, and accessible through increasing frequency on popular lines, especially the overcrowded ones. So therefore, I call for more clarity in Appendix A, Transportation Projects, Programs, and Phasing, that provides a list of specific improvements to this bus system. I call for increased funding for the planning, environmental review, engineering, and capital for the additional Blue Line track that allows 24-hour service and additional frequency enhancements. The information for the Blue Line needs to be clarified. It's currently unclear if the double/third track included in Appendix A refers to an additional track that will be provided that will provide express connectivity from the border to downtown San Diego. I call for a 24-hour service by 2025 on popular transit routes that to connect late night to early morning workers to their jobs. Therefore, the information in RTP needs to be clarified. The language in both Appendix A and Chapter 2 should specifically call for the 24-hour service on popular transit routes and present a clear implementation schedule. I call for the funding, planning, environmental review, engineering, and capital for the Purple Line as a rail line that connects environmental justice communities in Central City Heights and South Bay to Sorrento Valley. According to SANDAG staff, the alignment includes City Heights in the 2050 RTP with a 2035 implementation. However, it should be listed in the document to demonstrate that project phasing prioritizes Central City Heights in the South Bay region and a 2035 completion. I call for a no-cost transit pass for all youth of 25 or 24 years old or under in order to ensure generations of lifelong transit riders, encourage significant mode shift. Further, I ask that it be accelerated for a 2035 implementation instead of the current delayed plan to be implemented in 2027. So, and I call for an electrified bus fleet by 2030, fund the implementation of California's innovative clean transit rule to accelerate the electrification of the bus fleet 10 years before mandated by the California Air Resources Board. We cannot afford to wait 20 years to reduce our greenhouse gases, and therefore I ask that the transition to zero emission buses be accelerated for a 2030 completion with the support of recently approved state and federal funding sources. I call for funding to protect vulnerable communities living near transit corridors by anti-displacement efforts, developing an anti-displacement strategy that includes affordable and low-income housing and preservation of the naturally occurring and existing affordable housing, community ownership, and tenant protections. Therefore, I request an update on the status of the anti-displacement study. I call for the development of a bathroom access plan and providing MTS with funding for a clear and accessible bathroom network open at all major transport stations. It's unclear if a bathroom network is included in the capital operations budgets. And I lastly call for the funding of the planning and implementation of a transit emergency response strategy to provide safety, particularly to environmental justice communities during the community-wide emergencies, which currently is not included in the RTP. Thank you very much.
And if I may, I'd love to respond to that. And I just want to say thank you, Savannah, to you and your team. You know, the whole group that has worked to put together these wonderful ideas for us. We are going to be bringing this forward to our social equity working group and asking the working group to help us sift through these details and look at how we can address these in the regional plan. I'm going to call out one in particular, the blue line, which you're referring to, and which is really kind of the workhorse of our trolley system that goes from the San Ysidro port of entry all the way to downtown San Diego. That is the absolute workhorse of our transit system, and it deserves the attention to be a service that is express, where we can get downtown in 30 minutes instead of the hour that it takes today. So that's just one example. bathrooms, all of those things. We're working closely with the Metropolitan Transit System, MTS, to see how we can advance some of that as well. So we really look forward to the discussion, Savannah, with you and the rest of the team that have put together these insightful thoughts and working that through our social equity working group. And for just the public here who are present, that working group it's a public meeting. It is chaired by Council Member Vivian Moreno from the city of San Diego. There are 13 members of that group that are the executive directors of community-based organizations from the most disadvantaged communities within the San Diego region. So it's a perfect forum to have this discussion where equity and climate are absolutely at the forefront. So thank you again for your comments. We truly look forward to working with you on all of these great ideas. So I'll turn it back to Hope.
Thank you. At this time, we have one additional public commenter, Teresa. We're going to unmute your line and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Beginning now. So Teresa, if you, we have given you the permission to unmute. If you can unmute your line, we will be able to hear you. And again, please don't hesitate to chat in if you're having technical difficulties, and one of our folks will assist you. Okay, at this time, we do not have any additional speakers, public commenters. Does anyone else wish to offer public comment this evening? Just going to give a moment in case anyone wants to raise their hand before we conclude.
This is Don Wood. Can you hear me?
Yes, Don, we can.
I want to thank SANDAG for doing a different sort of planning this round of the RTP. It's refreshing to see SANDAG is changing its style a bit and is certainly more honest and forthcoming about the dollars involved, what the dollars can do. Hopefully SANDAG won't fall back into its old habits of promising more and delivering less, given the shabby track record it has had the last round of RTP. So hopefully you will keep going straight ahead and start putting some more bones on this frame you're putting together. I think we need more details as we go. Certainly details that will convince customers or users of SANDAG and MTS facilities that it's worth their vote to help fund the improvement that you envision. Thank you.
Thank you, Don Wood. And, you know, I really appreciate your recognition. We have worked tremendously hard to be transparent in this process. And throughout the process, we have literally terabytes of data that we have made available to the public. We're not assuming that everybody will read all of that, but if there are any questions that anyone has, we can absolutely point you in the direction. If you want to know the assumptions we made about what went into the transportation model, how we did our cost estimates, what our funding strategy is, the details are there. We recognize that, you know, putting out 5,000-6,000 pages of data is a tremendous amount to ask of the public. So if there are specific questions that anyone here has, please don't hesitate to contact any of us here on the SANDAG team so that we can point you in that direction. And this truly is a transformative plan, as I think we heard from the mayor of Lemon Grove. This is a once in a generation kind of opportunity to do something like this. So Don, thank you for your comments, and thank you all for joining us here this evening.
Yes, thank you everyone for being in attendance this evening, and to the East County community for sharing your thoughtful comments. I would also like to thank SANDAG board member Mayor Vasquez for joining us today. It was an honor having you in attendance at the community open house this evening. Our next open house is Monday, June 28th, and we'll have a sub-regional presentation focused on North County Inland. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great rest of your evening.